What are we talking about? Well, let's talk about the overall net approval ratings. We're going to look at the worst ever at this point in a presidency.
The ascent of Donald Trump to the White House twice is an obscene moment in American history. He's a cowardly racist, a misogynistic, sociopathic failure who stumbled into this moment and has the entire world on edge.
We're on live TV, so I'm not going to speak in terms that I would speak if we were off the air, but this was horrific. This was a tragedy. And a tragedy for American national security interests. I want to really emphasize that.
But his moment is less a referendum on him and more a snapshot of how f***ed up America has become. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Everything from Fox News propaganda network to the Electoral College to America's dark racist underbelly. But in the end, you can blame it on the independents and the Democratic Party. And before you throw something at me, it's on me too. I've been a Democrat all my life. But I turned my back on them at times and lost sight of the most important aspect to governing and making life better for everyone. And here's where we f***ed up. First, you have to win. The Democrats were right, and I abandoned them. And James Carville, who was Clinton's right-hand man for 25 years, makes a great point, and you'll hear from him in a second. But now I'm about to show you poll numbers that are pretty shocking. I mean, Trump hasn't been this unpopular since he was born, and his mother looked at him and threw up. That's a true story, but we'll get to that later, too. Man Titty's mental state is at the heart of all this.
They had what?
Trump is one of those competitors who doesn't believe in the concept of win-win. He sees you winning as him losing, a common affliction of sociopaths and malignant narcissists. So when polls come out like this, it's frightening that with so much to be thankful for, it can all disappear.
Focus in on independents here, and independents feel that Donald Trump has vacated the center of the electorate, catering to his base. What are we talking about? Well, let's talk about the overall net approval ratings. We're going to look at the worst ever at this point in a presidency. The old record among independents for the worst ever was Donald Trump back in 2016, a net approval rating of minus 16 points. Well, Donald Trump has broken his own record here. He now holds, in this particular term, the worst ever net approval rating at this point in a presidency among independents at, get this, minus 22 points. He is 22 points underwater with independents. That breaks the old record that belonged to Trump. He has set the new record. He is completely underwater with the center of the electorate, Kate Baldwin.
And this is overall. This
Yes.
is on all the issues. Now, focus in specifically on the economy.
Yeah, let's focus in on the economy, right? What is driving this overall approval rating for Donald Trump among independents to go underwater? Let's take a look at the economy. And let's take a look at Trump's net approval rating on it and look at the trend line over just the last few months. You go back to January, he was slightly above water with independents at plus 1 point. Look at this drop, Kate. Oh, my. Minus 29 points. That's a 30-point drop in under 3 months of time. What independents are hearing from Donald Trump, they hate. They hate what they're hearing from Donald Trump, and they are abandoning him in record numbers. At this point in his last presidency, he was about at 0 points in terms of his net approval rating on the economy, and now he's at minus 29 points. You go back through the record books, I simply put, Kate Baldwin, can't find anything close to this. This is such a record that there is no historical analogy to be 29 points underwater on the most important issue of the day with independents. This right here, my dear friends, is political poison. If an election were held today and Donald Trump's net approval rating in the economy was minus 29 points with independents, I'm not quite sure how Republicans can hold on to the House of Representatives.
Is it all tariffs that are driving this?
Yeah, okay. So let's take a look here at tariffs. This is definitely part of it. A clear plan for tariffs and trade among independents. Look at this. 57% say no. He doesn't even have a clear plan for what he should be doing with tariffs and trade. And when asked whether or not they like the idea of additional tariffs, guess what percentage of independents say no, that they oppose it? It is 2/3. It is 66% of independents who oppose new tariffs. They don't like anything that's coming out of Donald Trump's right now, absent maybe immigration. But when it comes to the economy, when it comes to overall, when it comes to tariff, it's a threesome for negativity among independents. They oppose. They simply put, do not like the words that are coming out of Donald Trump's mouth.
All of that is mind-numbing, so let's run through what Harry Enton just said. Let's start with independents. They're angry and disillusioned, but all of this is on them. Let me explain. There's a Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Well, there was a Republican Party.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore!
That might be the only time in his life that Wafflecock Jr. got something right. It's the Democrats, MAGA, and independents. And this poll shows the independents are dissatisfied with the economy, tariffs, and Trump's sweeping evangelical support.
Some will say now that I am calling America a Christian nation. And so I am. And some will say that I am advocating Christian nationalism. And so I do.
But catch this, in the last election, there were more people eligible to vote who didn't vote in U.S. history. Approximately 90 million people sat on their hands and allowed Trump to create this dystopian landscape that we face today. And one more thing, 87% of those independents who didn't vote, they opposed Trump, but they couldn't bring themselves to vote for Harris. Why? Not because she's black or a woman, but because A, she was a ruthless prosecutor, and B, she played into Trump's hands by defending trans male athletes and not speaking passionately to the Mexican-U.S. border. It was so simple. Newsom figured it out. He said this: anyone has the right to be who they feel they are, but it's unfair to a smaller woman to have to compete with a biological man. And we will defend the border and at the same time defend Hispanics. How hard was that? Because the bottom line is messaging and, of course, winning.
I don't think we can work together on pronoun politics. I don't. I think that you're not. This election did not teach you how damaging that is. I don't think there's anything that I can tell you.
Being right and affecting change don't have to be mutually exclusive. But those 90 million people who don't like what's happening now, hey, it's on you.
Tariffs. To me, I think it's the most beautiful word in the dictionary. More beautiful than love. It will make our country extremely wealthy again, because right now we're poor, we're broke.
The economy that has independents so worried, it's headed for a recession, and it could be a bad one. Let me explain. Here's a good example. China can't sell items to Walmart anymore because Walmart can't afford to buy them. Walmart could pay the 125% tariff and pass it on to their customers, except their customers can't afford Walmart goods at those prices, so they'll stop coming to Walmart. And then what's next? Walmart starts laying off people. And oh yeah, the number one private employer of Americans, it's Walmart.
I call them homegrown criminals.
Yes.
I mean, the
homegrowns.
The ones that grew up and something went wrong and they hit people over the head with a baseball bat. We have and push people into subways.
And undocumented immigrants, they're not pushing people in front of trains or hitting people over the head with a baseball bat. And Canada isn't bringing in fentanyl. 0.1% of fentanyl comes from Canada. But Trump knew how to win the uneducated voter whose head was spinning. Biden lost his way, Harris came out of nowhere, and the Democrats fell victim to identity politics. And Trump won with conversations like this.
You're saying that in California you can kill a newborn baby up to 4 weeks until after it's born?
Absolutely.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's not true.
Passed a law in the last year or two.
That is not true. That's not true.
You need to go do your research.
While the Democrats embraced issues, they were embracing the wrong issues they needed to win. And politics may seem to be about a lot of things, but all of it doesn't matter if you lose. And while Trump's numbers are historically low, there's only one number that matters anymore. It's 1,600, as in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, where Trump lives.
Terrorizing our communities?
Goddamn right.
Are your leaders incompetent, unqualified people compromising national security?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Elon!
They're eating the dogs.
Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer?
They had what? Bloated and fat and disgusting.
I like that.
We're a nation that speaks English.
Look, if something like this, that thing's goggling.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes!
Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.